The geopolitical landscape of the Middle East has shifted into a state of high-intensity preparation as a silent giant of the deep recently surfaced, sending a clear and unmistakable signal to the leadership in Tehran and the global community at large. An American Ohio-class submarine, identified by naval analysts as the USS Georgia, has been documented appearing off the coast of Gibraltar, cutting through the Mediterranean waters with a distinctive and ominous silhouette. Mounted on its massive hull is a dry deck shelter, a specialized module that serves as a hangar for elite special operations equipment. This vessel is not merely a transport, it is one of the world's deadliest secret weapons, a guided missile platform carrying a staggering 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles, now reportedly heading at full speed toward the Persian Gulf. The emergence of the Georgia comes at a moment of extreme tension following the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz by Iranian forces, who have tied the passage of international shipping to a provocative $2 million ransom. This escalation has plunged the global energy market into a supply shock, with gas prices in the United States already surpassing the $4 per gallon mark and European LNG routes facing unprecedented pressure. On the same day the Georgia was spotted, March 31st, a secondary but equally significant surge in American air power was recorded as 18 A-10 Warthog aircraft were tracked flying through the United Kingdom toward the Middle East. This deployment effectively doubles the Pentagon's existing fleet of the legendary ground attack planes in the region, signaling that the window for diplomacy may be closing in favor of a surgical, high-impact intervention. In the Gulf itself, the arrival of the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli has shifted the regional equation to a new dimension. Docking with approximately 3,500 Marines and a specialized air wing of F-35B stealth fighters and Osprey tilt rotors, the Tripoli serves as a mobile, floating airfield and a lethal landing platform. Meanwhile, in the United Arab Emirates, thousands of United States troops are currently being hosted in a state of high alert, with personnel across the region preparing for a potential engagement. The presence of C-17 transport aircraft, prepared for high-altitude low opening, or halo jumps, suggests that the United States is readying for a multi-vector assault that avoids the traditional and highly dangerous maritime approaches littered with Iranian mines. Despite the massive scale of this buildup, military analysts suggest these preparations do not indicate a full-scale ground invasion or a long-term occupation of the Iranian interior. Instead, the strategic configuration points toward a surgical covert intervention specifically designed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and neutralize the leverage held by the Iranian regime. To this end, the operation is expected to focus on limited target-specific amphibious raids and special forces missions. The primary objectives are the strategic islands and coastal positions that control the bottleneck of global oil trade, including Abu Musa and the Greater and Lesser Thumb Islands. The USS Georgia stands as the centerpiece of this underwater strategy. Known as the primary vehicle for submarine-based covert operations, the Georgia's dual-purpose platform allows it to strike inland targets with Tomahawks while simultaneously deploying Navy SEAL teams through its two dry deck shelter modules. This enables commandos to pass through secure compartments and board submersibles or inflatable boats while the submarine remains entirely submerged, ensuring a deployment that is significantly quieter and more radar invisible than any helicopter-borne insertion. The firepower of the Georgia offers the capability to conduct a preemptive sweep, wiping out air defense batteries and command centers within seconds before special forces even touch the shore. However, the operational environment is fraught with peril. Iran's coastal sonar networks, the unpredictable and powerful currents of the strait, and the complex requirements of oxygen management during long-duration underwater missions pose significant risks to American operators. Nevertheless, the U.S. military's advanced cryptographic systems and decades of specialized operational experience in these waters are expected to mitigate these dangers significantly. In the skies, the doubling of the A-10 fleet provides a devastating layer of close air support. The Warthog, famous for its nose-mounted GAU-8 Avenger cannon, capable of firing 70 rounds per second, is designed to hover over targets at low altitudes for extended periods. General Dan Kane of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has confirmed that these aircraft are already being tasked with hunting down IRGC fast attack boats in the Strait. The deployment of such a vulnerable aircraft against a nation with sophisticated air defenses suggests that the Pentagon believes Iran's primary air defense networks have already been largely suppressed, clearing the way for the A-10s to apply direct pressure on Revolutionary Guard positions during amphibious operations. The USS Tripoli adds another layer to this integrated force. By carrying the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, the ship offers a flexible amphibious capability that transcends classic beach landings. Using Ospreys for vertical troop insertion, the US can land forces directly onto strategic points while keeping its heavy ships away from the threat of Iranian anti-ship missiles and coastal mines. This combined sea and air support force is ideally suited for rapid operational interventions that force Tehran to disperse its defenses. One of the most innovative tactics being prepared involves the use of C-17 aircraft to drop SEAL teams and their specialized watercraft from altitudes of 10,000 feet. These commandos, conducting halo jumps, can rendezvous in the water and reach the coast undetected by radar or traditional surveillance, effectively neutralizing the threat of Iranian mines. Experts also highlight the deployment of hovercrafts, which can traverse minefields and provide an unexpected third vector of coastal access. This simultaneous approach, underwater via DDS, from the air via halo, and across the surface via hovercraft, is designed to shock and overwhelm Iranian coastal defenses. Behind the analysis you are watching right now, there are dozens of scanned articles, examined maps, and a long research process filled with sleepless nights. If you would like to chip in and support this effort, you can buy us a coffee via the QR code on the screen or the link below. Your support is invaluable for us to remain independent. Now, let's get back to where we left off. The Iranian response to these maneuvers has been one of public defiance and military mobilization. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has directly challenged the American buildup, stating that Tehran has no reason to trust Washington and mockingly inviting U.S. troops to attempt a landing. Araghchi warned that if the U.S. moves forward, the Strait of Hormuz will be closed for a century, and no power will be able to reopen it. Domestically, the Iranian parliament's approval of a $2 million transit fee per tanker is seen as a deliberate provocation designed to test the resolve of the international coalition. On the ground, Iran claims to have mobilized a force of 5 million volunteers, though intelligence reports suggest a different reality. Since the conflict's inception, verified data indicates that at least 4,770 members of the IRGC, Basij, and police forces have been killed, with over 20,880 wounded. These losses represent a significant erosion of the regime's core military structure. However, the potential involvement of Russian-backed Chechen combat units adds a dangerous variable. These forces, veterans of urban warfare in Ukraine, have declared their readiness to fight alongside Iran, potentially strengthening coastal defenses in built-up areas. Iran's military doctrine remains rooted in asymmetric warfare, utilizing deep mountain tunnels, thousands of small swarm boats, and concealed anti-ship missiles to negate the technological advantages of the U.S. Navy. The depth of the Iranian interior is their greatest strategic asset, a lesson learned during the 1980 to 1988 Iran-Iraq War. The U.S., aware of this history, is focusing its operations on the coast, but the risk of being drawn deeper into the country remains a constant concern for planners. The strategic targets are clear. Beyond the islands, the focus is on Harj Island, the northern terminal that handles roughly 90% of Iran's oil exports. A commando raid to disable these loading facilities would cripple the regime's revenue stream and force it to the negotiating table. However, Harg Island is heavily fortified with mines and portable air defense systems, making any assault a high-risk endeavor. The mission also targets the IRGC's naval bases and missile batteries that threaten commercial shipping. The primary goal, as articulated by current leadership, is to achieve these objectives within a 2 to 3 week window. This surgical plan aims to restore global oil flow, lower gas prices, and secure a domestic political victory. Yet, the challenges of operating in shallow, acoustically challenging waters under extreme heat exceeding 50 degrees Celsius cannot be ignored. The logic of war often outpaces even the most detailed plans, and the world now watches to see if this surgical intervention will achieve its goals or spiral into a broader conflict. The silent giant has surfaced, the warthogs are in the air, and the countdown to a decisive confrontation in the Strait of Hormuz has begun. Please share your thoughts on this escalation in the comments below. To stay informed about PPR Global's exclusive analysis, please subscribe to our channel and remember to turn on notifications.